see. There we go. It looks like we can
Yeah,
all
you
see
got it.
it. All right, well, let's get started. I mean, we have a lot of information to cover today. I'm really excited to be here with you. A little bit about me. If you don't know who I am a proud mom of two. I'm a returned Peace Corps volunteer. I was in Senegal from 2000 to 2002. Usually, when I'm working with large groups of nonprofit professionals, there's always an RPCV in the group. So let me know if you are a returned Peace Corps volunteer. The most important thing to know about me is that I've been in your shoes and I know what it's like to be a one woman development and marketing shop. I know what it's like to work for big shops, but I especially know what it's like to work with small shops. And a lot of my content is designed for those small shops with bootstrap budgets, limited resources, and capacity. So I know what you're going through. I appreciate your time and your attention, and I will not waste any of it. I wrote a book about storytelling, so I like to think that I know a little bit about the topic and what I'm talking about. I'm also incredibly passionate about the power of digital storytelling, especially for social change, but also to help us accomplish our missions, reach more of our supporters, and drive donations. So if you want to follow on Twitter at the bottom of each slide, if you hear anything that you like, you can always tweet about it at Julia C. Social and also at NP Hub. So some of the things we're going to cover today, and I'm sure that you know you will get the slides and the recording, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about taking copious notes. You'll get a copy of that. And of course, if you don't, or if you're missing something, you can always send me a tweet or an email, and I'm happy to send you a PDF of the slides. So we're going to cover some specific strategies that you can employ on social media to connect with your supporters. I also incorporate a lot of real world examples throughout my presentation. So there are examples from clients that I've worked with. There are screenshots that I have taken on my phone. There are small nonprofits, mid-sized, large nonprofits. They run the gamut, all causes, all verticals, all missions. So we are going to look at some examples of nonprofits that are really doing a great job driving social media engagement with their digital storytelling. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about some tools that free and low cost tools that you can use to really enhance the digital storytelling that you're doing. So when I start almost every single presentation, especially storytelling presentations, I like to emphasize that people are not going to remember exactly what you said. They're not going to remember the data. They're not going to remember that you helped 500 people last year, you served 3,000 meals, that you did 10 hours of homework help every single week. They won't remember that. They are going to remember how you made them feel. And that's the essence of what we're trying to do. And that is the essence of what we should be doing every single day in terms of our marketing, our fundraising. And that's how storytelling is going to really help you, because storytelling is a feeling. It will help people feel something for your organization, which is then going to help them take an action, whatever action it is that you desire. Of course, we know supporters want stories. That's not just me telling you that because I happen to be a storytelling consultant. These are real donors, real supporters. So Blackbaud did a study, Classy picked it up and wrote about it. Supporters want stories. They were asked, what kind of communication do you most want to receive from the nonprofits that you support? And 60% of communications need to be impact and success stories. So you can take this pie chart, put it up. There's your little content strategy for 2019. But we need to start focusing more on stories. I love this Venn diagram. This is from Mark Phillips, and he's at Blue Frog Consulting, and you can check him out on the website below. But I think this is an incredibly important point to make. We tend to focus our social media communications, especially on the blue part. You know, we've been in the news. Here's a fantastic award that we won. Our board chair is featured on this. You know, this is why we need your money. This is our new approach. This is about us, 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 us. And what the donor really wants to hear, they want to know, did you make a meaningful difference? They don't want to know a lot of academic jargon. They're interested in the cause, they're passionate about your work, but they want to know that you are helping move the needle on a cause and a mission that they care about. And this is how storytelling can help you. And this is how social media channels can help you. So a frequent question that I get is, okay, is everyone leaving Facebook? Is everyone leaving Twitter? Is everyone leaving social media? Is social media just a fad? So what I say to that is, first of all, look at what happens in an internet minute. But secondly, social media, yes, there are a suite of platforms and tools that you can use to help do your job. They are not a means to an end. They are not your goal. They will help you accomplish your goal, but getting on Facebook, getting on Snapchat, posting on Instagram, those are not your goals. They are a means to an end. They're tools in your toolbox. All of these different channels represent a complete revolution in human communication. They are not fads. Yes, they might switch out. Some might go out of favor. Some might become more popular, but they represent a complete revolution in how humans find information, how we share things that we care about, how we connect with other people. So they are not a fad, they are not a trend. And love them or hate them, love Facebook, hate Facebook, you cannot deny that it is a huge revolution in the way humans communicate. So you can love it, you can hate it, you can have all sorts of opinions about it, and I'm sure that you do. But social media is not going anywhere. In fact, especially in the United States, social media use is growing. If you need any of these statistics to convince your higher ups or to convince those social media skeptics that you might have on your board or on your staff, just go to Pew Research Center, PEW Research Center, and they do studies. They just did a social media use in 2018 study. That's where I get all my statistics. They're bipartisan, they're academic, their research is really well renowned and prestigious. So you want to go there to find your statistics. Yes, young people are still using social media. Of course, the channels that they use might not be the channels that we use if we are not young people. So what does it mean, young people, 18 to 24? Newsflash, millennials are not young anymore, okay? Millennials are like my brother who's 38 and has 2 kids and has a mortgage and has a job. So when I say, when we talk about reaching younger donors, we're actually talking about reaching Generation Z, we're talking about reaching next gen, we're talking about reaching, 18 to 24-year-olds. If you want more information on where they spend their time, like I said, go to Pew Research Center, but they are using Snapchat, they're using Instagram, and they're using YouTube. YouTube is the most popular social media channel among those 18 to 24. So who would have known? Also, people are spending more time on social media. Now, I know all of us are saying, oh man, we're not spending more time. We're not using it as much. People are constantly saying they're deleting Facebook. That might be true, but that is not a critical mass of people. The majority of people are actually using social media more. So all of this to say, don't ignore social media as a powerful communications tool. I'm not telling you to get rid of your direct mail. I'm not telling you to get rid of phone calls or get rid of coffees or get rid of in-person meetings or galas. I'm just telling you that these are powerful tools that cannot be ignored. If you want a study about to determine your benchmarks, so what are nonprofits in your space that are your size, that have similar budgets, similar staff sizes, go to mrbenchmarks.com. That's going to tell you a lot more about what nonprofits are doing. So nonprofit social media audiences, they grew a lot in 2017, and actually the biggest growth was on Instagram, which I think is an incredibly powerful tool for social media storytelling, and we're going to talk about Instagram, but that's a great place to go if you want to see how you stack up against your peers. Of course, we know that one of the absolute biggest disruptions in nonprofit fundraising in the past year is fundraising on Facebook. So this is not a dedicated webinar about Facebook fundraising. I do an hour-and-a-half webinar on that. There are so many different facets and nuances to it. but it's something that we can't deny. We can't deny the power of Facebook for introducing new causes to people and also leveraging the most powerful form of fundraising, which is word of mouth, peer to peer. So we know that Facebook raised, or Facebook itself didn't raise, but Facebook fundraisers raised $300 million last year since these tools were introduced. And this is due to the power of the platform, the reach of the platform, but the power of the personal stories that people are telling, right? So I'm happy to answer questions about that kind of at the end, and I will talk a little bit about it as we go on. So how do you truly drive engagement on social media? The first thing that you need to do, and it's not as sexy as setting up a donate button, you need to know what success looks like for you. So everyone on this webinar, there are like over 400 people signed up on this webinar. All of you may have different definitions of success. What do you want to accomplish? What does success look like? 1 year from now, how are you going to know you've succeeded? Now, you might be saying, oh, we want everyone in town to know our name. Okay, but is that really success? Because what does that then lead to? Why do you want everyone in town to know your name? Why do you want to raise awareness? Why do you want to increase exposure? Why do you want to push people to your events? You have to really define what social media success means. If you're telling your stories and you're collecting and crafting your stories, why are you doing it? And you have to define success for your organization, because if you don't know where you're going, then I'm not going to be able to tell you sort of how to get there. The second thing you need to do, and you need to spend a lot of time on this, know your audience. This is why so many nonprofits spin their wheels and flail around and fail on social media. They don't know who they're talking to. They don't know what their supporters value. They don't know what people want to hear from them. They don't know what kind of information is going to be interesting, is going to be unique, is going to be relevant. Spend some time understanding your audience. Now, you might have a different audience on Instagram than you have on Facebook. You might have a different audience in your email list than you have on Twitter. So take some time, look at your platforms, look at everything that you're utilizing, figure out the common thread that runs through the different audiences that you serve. Figure out, what do people want to know more about? What are you an expert on? What value can you provide? And social media is a value exchange. It is 100% about what's in it for the people that are either viewing your videos or looking at your posts or following your tweets. What do they get out of it? What do they get out of following you? It is not about what you get out of it. It really isn't. It's about what do they get out of it. We need to think of our audience, not, I don't want to say like us versus them, but you need to think of your audience as a community. And ideally, when you're building an audience on social media, you want to create this shared identity. So if I support the Humane Society, I am against animal abuse. I want the fair and respectful treatment of animals, right? That's what I want. Like, I believe in their mission, I believe in the work that they do, I share their values, I share their ethics. That's just an example. Seth Godin calls this building your tribe. So people like us do things like this, and you don't want to worry about everybody else. This is why we're telling our stories. These are the communities that we're creating on our social media sites. People like us do things like this. It's a line in the sand. This is what we do. This is what we believe in. We're all in this together. So it's a fantastic book if you want to read it. It's called Tribes. It's by Seth Godin. Basically anything by him is incredibly amazing. But shun the non-believers, right? If people don't believe in your cause, if people are never going to believe in your cause and your ethics and your values, don't worry about them. Worry about the people that are interested, that want to learn more, that want to get more involved, and that might want to help you spread the word and actually participate in what you're doing. So when you're creating your social media content, you want to think about these three questions. So the what's in it for me question. It's a value exchange, like I said. What am I going to get out of reading this post? What am I going to get out of this? What am I going to learn? Am I going to be inspired? Am I going to feel hopeful? Is this aspirational? What value are you providing to me? And it could just be putting a smile on my face. It could just be a great photo putting a smile on my face. It could be educating me about an issue. It could be getting me to take an action that then makes me feel great about myself. And then what do people look to you to provide? I believe that nonprofits should all be in the business of filling in knowledge gaps. I don't mean preaching, and I don't mean writing a 20-page dissertation about where the knowledge gap lies with your audience and the work that you do. I do believe that your audience is passionate and cares about the people that you serve or the mission that you're trying to accomplish, and they want to know more, and they want to understand a little bit of the nuances, and they want to help. So think about what they know about you, and then when you're collecting and crafting stories, think about some of the misconceptions that you can address in those stories, because we know that we need to move beyond a simple recounting of things that happened. We need to start telling more interesting stories with unique characters and plot twists, things that are going to capture our audience's attention. So don't keep regurgitating the stuff that they know, right? Teach them something or help them form an opinion about something else. So at the Facebook Developer Conference this past year, Facebook's head of newsfeed told us exactly what it takes to succeed on social media. He told us. He didn't tell us how, but he told us what. So he said that content posted on the site that is trusted, informative, local, and inspiring conversation is going to get traction in the newsfeed. And I think that these 4 points are salient with every single social media site. The number one type of content that is trusted. How do nonprofits build trust? We showcase our impact. How do we do that? We do it through storytelling. Cabrera School for Girls, fantastic example. They showcase a lot of their stories with a simple quote, a name, and a vibrant image that captures your attention, that catches your eye. Visuals like this are absolutely imperative in social media. This is actually taken from an email, but I really liked it, and I thought it would be a fantastic social media post as well. And of course, you can repurpose all of your stories across the different channels. Just make sure you're not fully regurgitating and cutting and pasting, because of course, character limits and what works on Instagram doesn't necessarily work on Twitter. But if you have a fantastic story and a fantastic visual, make it work across different channels. Another example of a story that's just a quote, so it's almost like the mentor and the mentee are telling the story for you. You don't have to be an amazing Pulitzer Prize winning journalist or copywriter. Tell the story in the simplest way possible, being authentic and showcasing your community and empowering them to tell the stories themselves. So Best Buddies shares a lot of content from Instagram posts that their mentors have posted, their mentees have posted, their chapters have posted. Getting me to click on a story is challenging. I will admit that. So you post a video and nobody watches it. What you may or may not be writing is, watch our video about Dan. Well, that's not very compelling. You have to think about the hook and the angle. Get me to watch this video. Get me to click on this video. So tell a little bit of the story, tease a little bit of the story in the social media post, and get me to click to watch more. Don't tell me the whole story in the caption. Just tease it and get me to watch more. Yes, you can showcase stories of your staff, stories of your executive directors, your board, to help build that trust, to help build that affinity. An important piece of storytelling is to develop that integrity and to show me that you are a trusted resource and that you know what you're talking about and that you have the right experience and you have the chops to solve this problem. So you certainly can be sharing outside articles like this. Make sure they're compelling stories, make sure they're interesting, make sure they have this great visual. I love pulling out a little bit of a quote in the beginning to grab attention, to pique my curiosity, and to get me to click on it. The second piece of the social media strategy is content that informs. So these are helpful resources. All of these types of posts, they tell a complete story about your organization. They all are completing the narrative about what you stand for, who you help, and what you do. So if you're constantly striving to be helpful, to provide these great resources, your audience is going to respond. I really liked what United Way of Massachusetts Bay did. First of all, I love a great visual, of course. You need that, especially if you're creating a Facebook ad like this one. But this is a great example of social media content that helps, that informs, that educates me. It's something I'm going to click on because they understand what their audience values and they understand who their audience is, so they can better create these kinds of posts that are going to resonate. The third tier is content that is local. So right now, Facebook, amongst other social media sites, they're really encouraging us to meet up in real life and to have all of these kinds of events and civic discussions and things like that. So if you have a brick and mortar, even if you don't have a brick and mortar, if you have events, encourage people to check in, encourage people to talk about what's going on locally, encourage people to share stories of local happenings, local issues. The more local you can focus your content, the better. If this is applicable to you, some of you might be national nonprofits, that's fine, but I'm willing to bet that most of you are smaller nonprofits, and this focus on the local angle and promoting content that is locally focused, I really think can help smaller organizations actually. Highlighting volunteers, checking in, tagging other organizations, all will help you. So if I am part of the Meals on Wheels, local chapter in my town, and they tag another organization in my town, I'm much more likely to see that because Facebook says, oh, Julia lives in Wenham and she's interested in Meals on Wheels. She may or may not be interested in this other organization that's partnering with them, because they want us to focus on local civic engagement. They used to just want us to kind of sit there and passively watch cat videos, and now they've changed their tune a little bit. So we'll see if it works, but that's what they're doing. The most important aspect of all of your social media communication should be content that inspires conversation. Storytelling is wonderful for that. So first of all, you want to grab attention. You want to share an image that's going to grab attention, and then you want to post. I'm not saying you want to be so provocative that you're going to be shocking people, but to really cut through the clutter these days, you do have to do the unexpected. I think that authentic stories of real people actually work really well. So this story is on Instagram. Now, if you're on Instagram, you know that the majority of posts on Instagram are all filtered. They're perfect. Everyone looks beautiful. I don't even know. Everyone has perfect skin and perfect bodies and perfect clothes and all of this. So to showcase something that is kind of against the grain of Instagram, I think is amazing, first of all, but also it's going to generate some conversation and it's going to grab attention. Asking questions that build community, that connect people to each other, and that encourage people to share their stories. Also, that kind of content works really well on social media. It's inspiring that conversation, inspiring meaningful interactions. I love what Amira New England does. First of all, they are just one of my favorite organizations. I showcase them all the time. They do a lot of campaigns around how there is human trafficking right in our backyards, And I never knew that there was human trafficking and sex trafficking in New England until I watched a bunch of their videos. Really compelling stuff. But what they do is they celebrate milestones. So they encourage people to be part of the conversation. Please join us in congratulating her and supporting her for the days ahead. So they really bring you in. And Boston Children's Hospital has just did this today. I just got an email from them that said, send a Halloween greeting to the children that have to spend Halloween in the hospital. And, we're going to print them all out. We're going to put them all over the walls. And by the way, while you're here, do you want to donate $3 to do XYZ? So I loved it. Getting me to feel like a part of a community and getting me to, getting that meaningful conversation out of me is really, really great. So running a storytelling campaign like Macmillan Cancer Support, they did, the That's My Dad campaign, and then they encouraged people to donate after they shared their stories. You may have to share your story first. You may have to encourage your staff, your volunteers to kind of step up to the plate first, because I think it's going to be really hard to just ask, hey, everyone, share your story on social media. People get intimidated by that. They don't really know where to start. They don't think they have important stories to share. But if you can show people examples of what you're talking about, what you're looking for, if you are running a campaign like this, it works really well. It does really, really well on social media. So what types of stories tend to work best on social media channels? Of course, we know the impact story. This is best for fundraising. I guess I have these 4 story types. All of them depend on your goal and what you're trying to do. So nothing in this space is cookie cutter. There are simply guidelines for you to follow, but none of this is a, do or die checklist is what I'm trying to say. So impact stories tend to work better for fundraising. These are the life change, trajectory altered. They are not data driven. They could be data supported. They focus on the benefits of what you do and not the features. So it's much more about the impact that you had and the outcomes than it is the outputs. And if you are a grant writer, you know what I'm talking about. So when you think about benefits, think about not kind of the steps of, okay, I was homeless, I came here, I talked to a caseworker, she got my life on track, and now I'm fine. Think about how they felt. Think of it in terms of emotion. Think of it in terms of, I was scared, I was lonely, I was feeling hopeless, and now I feel empowered. I have my voice back. I'm excited about the future. So less about the what they went through and much more about how they felt going through it and then how they feel now. Again, if you can address any knowledge gaps, if you can address stereotypes and myths and misconceptions, sort of all the better. Once again, Best Buddies does this really great, what do I do next? Like every other senior in high school. So you can identify with this question if you are in this age group, if you know teenagers, and it's just a great story of how he answered that question for himself. Rosie's Place, a fantastic organization in Boston. They like to showcase, talk about repurposing. So they usually do these great videos and then they take a screenshot. They draw you in with the caption. We met her when she was sleeping in her car in our parking lot. To see her story, click on our bio. Of course, you can upload the video to Facebook. You can upload it directly to Twitter. There's a million ways you can repurpose it. But grabbing that attention in the caption, telling a little bit of a piece of the story, getting me to want to read more. Look at what newspapers do and what journalists do. So the NPR affiliate where I live is WBUR. I absolutely love the stories that they post about nonprofits because they don't start with XYZ nonprofit did this and they're so amazing. They draw you in with a lead. I mean, this is journalism 101, and I studied journalism in the 90s. I'm so glad that I studied journalism because I think it has absolutely benefited me in terms of storytelling and social media because it's all about not hiding the lead. It's all about grabbing attention What's the angle? What's the hook? Why am I going to pay attention? Why now? Take some time every single day to read stories in the newspaper. And I'm not talking about the headlines. I'm talking about those stories that are kind of buried in the paper about the great work that's being done in your community, and read the way those stories are written. And those are great examples for you to use when crafting social media posts. Another great way to do it is to say, did you know? I didn't know that Boys and Girls Clubs serves almost 500,000 youth on military installations. So another great way is to just kind of ask people a question to elicit their curiosity. Mission moments are perfect as well. This photo tells a story without telling a story. So not every social media post and blog post and email has to be the hero's journey. It doesn't have to be Luke Skywalker or Harry Potter or Wonder Woman. It doesn't have to be an epic journey. It can be a little bit of a mission moment, and the photo can tell the story. So thinking about your social media storytelling as pieces of your overall narrative. You are writing a book, and all of these social media posts are pages or even chapters in your book. You are not going to be able to tell the whole book in one post, in one tweet. You're not going to be able to showcase every program. You're not going to be able to showcase every staff member, every possible client. So think of it as pieces of your overall puzzle. Insider stories are fantastic. Who volunteers with you? Why do they do it? Talk about, what was their best experience? What was hard for them? Try to draw out some interesting information. Get that behind the scenes insight. All of this is making your organization more human. We crave connections with humans on social media. We want to see humans behind the brand. Shout out to your volunteers. Not only will this help with volunteer recruitment, this will just show that you're an organization that values your volunteers. You value your interns. You value your behind the scenes workers, giving shout outs. If you have an awesome staff story or a founder story, then tell it. This is all building trust, building affinity, eliciting an inspiring conversation. That's what the name of the game is on social media. If you don't get engagement, it's like it never happened. Another type of story that I recommend you collect, donor stories. So find out, they don't even have to be your $100,000 donor. They could be someone that gives you $10 every week or $10 a year. Why do they give? Why do they continue to give? What does this mean to them? Donors like hearing from other donors. And once again, this will not only make your donor feel fantastic, but it helps you sort of build this community and showcase that you are doing something that is worthy of other people contributing. So I love highlighting, your fundraisers. You might not have people that shave their heads for you, right? So this is not, it's St. Baldrick's, but I bet you have someone that holds a lemonade stand for you, that collected donations for you on their birthday. Highlight those people that no matter how little they're raising, they're doing what they can. What if we all showcased our in-kind donors like this? Rather than just putting up a logo and saying, thank you to my Bob's Furniture, they actually showed what the donation looked like in practice. I love this. I think we should all do this, especially for our in-kind donors or corporate donors. If you can't show a video, if you can't show a face, another way is to use a graphic design platform and pull out a quote. Just like this quote, I hope my donation will help other people struggling with finding their way in this world. The fourth type of story, the community story. These are people in the community that are respected, that are influential. These are your other nonprofits that you work with, your after-school programs, your schools. These could be, the local cable TV station, the local media personality, maybe a legislator. And this is going to help you build that social proof, build that affinity, build that trust. Also, it's just really nice to highlight the people that know you and love you and support you. And these are the kind of posts that tend to get shared far and wide. Highlighting people in the community that are sharing their stories around a common theme. So this is a storytelling campaign that the Mirror Coalition did all around my immigrant mom. So it was a lot of people in the Boston area sharing tributes to their moms who are immigrants. So this would be a community digital storytelling campaign, a great example, and they featured some of their favorite ones on their social media sites. An important point that I want to make about collecting these kinds of stories. So no matter who you're talking to, try to avoid saying, hey, so tell us your story. This is what usually happens when I start working with a client and they want to get, they're a development director. And this happened to me when I was the development and marketing director at a domestic violence shelter. I came in, I was, all fired up. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have such a great time getting these stories, telling these stories. There's so many amazing stories. The organization had been around for 25 years and the staff had stories, everybody. So what I did was, because I didn't know any better, I was like in my early 20s, I sent an email to everybody and I said, hey, I'm collecting some stories for the email newsletter. Please let me know if you have a story. Love, Julia, right? Nobody did because they didn't know what that meant. They didn't know what kinds of stories. They didn't know what I was looking for. They didn't know how it was going to be shared. They didn't, first of all, really know me because I was new there. So then what I realized is that you really do have to work like a journalist. You have to ask leading questions. Your favorite memory. How have we made you feel? What's one thing, one reason? Make it accessible, make it easy, and make it specific. You don't want to send that email like I did. Hey, everybody, I need some stories for our email newsletter. No, that doesn't work because nobody understands what that means other than development directors. I have a workbook. I'm happy to send the PDF to anybody, post the link that walks you through each of these steps. And it's quite a few pages. I don't know if it's like 10 pages, but it will help you formulate your digital storytelling plan for you and your organization. So it's at my website under workbook. And I'm also happy to share that link at the end if you missed it. Okay, so what are some platforms and tools that you can use for digital storytelling? I can't really tell you the specific platforms and channels that you should be on because that would be like having a complete stranger come up to me and say, "Hey Julia, so where should I move? Where should I buy a house?" I don't know anything at all about you. Like, do you like the ocean? Do you like the country? What kind of budget do you have? Where do you have family? What are you looking for? Do you like big houses, little houses, warm weather, cold weather? So, you coming to me and saying, what channels should I be on? If I don't know anything about you, I can't really answer that, but I can tell you how to figure it out for yourself. So what you want to do is you want to ask, is your audience there? That involves going back to your goal. How do you define success? And who are you speaking to? Can you actually add value on this channel, or are you just going to be like sending your tweets to Facebook, which I really can't stand when people do that? Are you going to just be automating, regurgitating? You certainly can repurpose, but you can't just regurgitate and cut and paste. So what can you post on this channel that's going to be interesting and unique? And also, can you really design and create content specific to that channel? We know that Instagram is a completely different monster from LinkedIn, completely different from Twitter, completely different from YouTube. So are you truly able to manage, design, create, curate, research, monitor content on another channel? We have to be honest about our capacity. I firmly believe that less is more. Quality over quantity. This is your new mantra. Don't post on Facebook 5 times a week if you're posting garbage. Post 3 times a week and have those posts be really great. Okay, quality over quantity, less is more. You cannot beat the internet on clutter and noise, but you can beat it on thought out strategic quality. Some ways that you can do this on a shoestring. Use the most powerful tool that humans have ever had at their disposal, the smartphone. You have a smartphone. That's basically your video studio, photo studio, audio studio, editing studio, computer processor. Take videos with your smartphone. Excuse me. Post videos natively on social media. So if you take nothing away from today, just know that posting a link to a video does nothing for you on Facebook. If you post a YouTube link or a Vimeo link or something else, a Wistia link, upload the video file. That gets you at least 10 times the reach and exposure, because of course Facebook doesn't want to send you to YouTube. Facebook and Google don't like each other, right? They're competitors. So think about that. Try to create and upload content natively onto each channel rather than simply posting links. Live streaming videos get 10 times the engagement of a native on-demand video. Try to incorporate live streaming wherever and whenever you can. At least put it down on your to-do list for 2019. The most important thing you can do is use your photos, use your videos, use your storytelling capacity. Be short and sweet and to the point. Be authentic, right? People can smell marketing and spam a million miles away. I really like providing in the moment updates, go live from an event, go live from the field, live from a volunteer orientation. Just take some videos, show people the human side of what you're doing. Thank supporters. I don't think we take enough time to thank supporters. That's a great way to use video. Go outside and say, hey, I just want to thank everyone that donated in 2018. We're running a campaign on Giving Tuesday. Here's the link. Thank supporters. So what are some tools you can use to create this kind of content? Canva. Canva is my absolute favorite. It's my go-to. I will show you what it looks like. If you use Canva right now, you are jumping up and down and yelling and saying, oh my gosh, I love Canva. I create every single blog post graphic using Canva. I create everything with Canva, any social media graphics that I have. So Canva is completely free. Nonprofits can get a premium account at a discount if you just go to canva.com/nonprofits. The only thing that costs money is if you want to use specific templates or specific icons or photos, but it's really affordable. I maybe spend $10 a month on Canva on photos. You can create infographics. You can create pretty much anything. You can see the designs at the top. So there's no excuse not to have a social media, not to have a visual with every single social media post that you post. Animoto is another one. They have, if you click that link, they have a nonprofit discount. That's for video. You can actually create videos just with photos. They'll do a little animated photo collage for you. You can put photos and videos in there. You can edit your videos. I mean, there's a million ways you can do it. So I suggest checking out Animoto. That happens to just be my favorite one. And then the WordSwag mobile app, if you want to create like this graphic on the right-hand side, if you want to create graphics, you want to upload some of your photos, put quick text overlay on them. If you want to do those donor quotes or volunteer quotes, some of those examples that I showed you, WordSwag mobile app is my favorite go-to. These are created with WordSwag. The best part of WordSwag is that it's even simpler to use than Canva. You simply type your words in, and then you kind of almost like Tinder, you like swipe through until you find the one that you really like, and then you can, change it and edit it as much as you like. Some other tools that I personally like and that I use HootSuite and Buffer. We've all heard of HootSuite and Buffer. These are really helpful when planning out. I find them helpful for Twitter and LinkedIn and even Instagram. So I haven't seen any penalties in terms of reach if I post from Hootsuite to Instagram. I do see it on Facebook. So I like to go into Facebook, the native Facebook page app, and post to my Facebook page directly from there, or schedule posts from there. But if you need to schedule tweets or schedule to your LinkedIn profile, schedule to Instagram, you can use Hootsuite and Buffer. They both have nonprofit discounts. They both have free trials and free plans. BuzzSumo is another one that I really like. It helps you create and find content around your cause, so you're not always sharing out your own stuff. You're actually curating interesting, valuable, helpful, educational information around your cause, around your mission, even around your locality, that can help your audience. Because remember, the key is provide value. Social media is a value exchange. So just in summary, and I'm going to take some questions, so make sure you've been typing them in. My 3 keys to social media success: consistency. It's like exercise. If you only do 1 tweet a week and 1 Facebook post a month, that's simply like working out once a month. You are not going to get any results. You might get some results, but you're certainly not going to get the results that you would get if you were strategic and focused, if you had a plan, if you showed up regularly, if you tried your hardest, if you put quality effort into it. So when I say consistency, I don't mean throwing up a post every day. I mean showing up, being present, and being thoughtful and strategic. You have to create the kind of content that people like. Okay? It's not your agenda. It's not about pushing out your message. It's what does your audience want to consume? What do they want to hear from you? What do they want to read and share and comment on? And then also, number 3, having confidence. Having the confidence that you can do this, right? Having confidence in your brand voice, in your personal voice, being able to take risks, to try new tools, to be innovative, to try new things. Having that confidence will serve you incredibly well when you're creating this great social media content that I know that you're capable of. All right, so that is all I have for the formal presentation. I put my email here, my website. Also, I manage a Facebook group for nonprofit social media managers. There's almost 4,000 people in the group. It's awesome. It's all people just like you, asking questions, sharing tools and resources and advice, getting help, getting feedback on different campaigns. It's actually pretty awesome. So I recommend checking it out. And then I'm gonna take some questions.
We have a few questions. First of all, there's a bunch of people saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So I guess that means they liked it.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So Judy asks, do you think it's better to have one Facebook page or different pages for different projects or programs?
Oh, this is my little soapbox. Actually, I just answered this in the group the other day. I made a whole video about it. I think your Facebook page should be based on your audience. So if you, for instance, if you're a domestic violence shelter and you want to serve people that are in abusive relationships and maybe want help, right? That might be a different, like a Facebook group, or maybe a Facebook page with resources. And then if you have different audiences, I really think it's okay. But if you're serving the same audience, or if there's any overlap, you don't want to cannibalize yourself by having several Facebook pages, because like I said, it's all about the audience. I'm not going to know which project I should like. I'm not going to know which program I should like. I'm just going to see your logo and your name, and I'm not going to understand why I have to like 7 different Facebook pages, because I'm just interested at the end of the day in your mission overall. So, it is challenging, but I really recommend for small nonprofits to focus, all your efforts really in one place. And then if you do find that there's a huge audience that's looking for some completely different information, then potentially creating another page. But I really recommend starting with one and trying to do your best on the one.
Yeah, that's always hard to know if you're diluting things, or if you're making them more efficient. So that's a tough one. Carissa asks, do you recommend posting to Facebook every day?
Well, I wouldn't post more than once a day unless you're an organization that's dealing with breaking news or advocacy or something where you do have to post if something happens. What I found was that I was posting 3 times a day on my Facebook page, and I was not getting any traction on any of the posts. So then I just started to post once a day or even once every like 36 hours. And what happened was that Facebook would have a little bit more time to show the post to more people, so it would get a little bit more traction. So it's really just about quality over quantity. So if you have great things to post every single day, then yes. If you don't have great things to post every single day, then don't post every single day.
Okay, Kaylee asks, what's the best way to quote get to know our social media followers aside from looking at the people insights for demographics? So how do you suggest that you learn more about them and what they want more of?
Well, I mean, you can ask them. So there you can run polls, or you could do a Facebook Live. You can run a Survey Monkey survey to your email list. But this is the thing, you kind of know intuitively a little bit about why they're there, right? So they're there because they support your mission in some way. So I think you can start from there. You can start from, okay, what is the crux of our mission? Why are people giving money to us? Why are people paying attention to us? What's important for them to know about our mission? And then the great thing about social media is that it gives you real-time feedback. So you'll see very quickly if the content you're posting is resonating with people or if it's just kind of going to crickets. So it will give you that real time feedback. But what's important about your audience is that you need to have a persona, but that doesn't mean you're excluding everybody. So an example that I like to share is one of my clients, Rhodes Scholar, who's formerly Elder Hostel. They were kind of flailing around on social media. They knew that their audience was older, predominantly 65 and older. They were kind of interested in travel, and that's really all they knew. And then when we really drilled down and figured out, we looked at the demographics on their page, we looked at their insights, we did some surveying, we did some, we experimented with different types of content. We found that the persona for their Facebook page was a woman who is 70 plus. She is really empowered. She's the kind of like 70-year-old woman that would climb Mount Everest. You can't tell her she's too old to do this. You can't tell her she's too old to wear that. She's very, interested in education and travel. And we called her the funky grandma. So now Rhodes Scholar has the funky grandma in mind, and they say, okay, would the funky grandma like this post? If not, then we don't post it. If yes, then we do. But the thing with that is that content still resonates with other people. Like I like a lot of their content too, and I'm certainly not in the funky grandma demographic. But now that they have that kind of laser focus and they have that litmus test for all of their content, their engagement has just kind of exploded. So as much as you can figure out who is your funky grandma and target all of the content around that person, you are not going to exclude other people, but you are going to get more engagement from the right kinds of people. That makes sense.
Okay, we had a handful of questions come in towards the end there, so we'll get to as many of them as we can. Molly asks, how do you begin to make your board see the value in storytelling and social media?
Oh, that's challenging. I need to write that question down because I want to do an entire video around that. So for me, I think that you should show them that study where it says supporters want to hear stories. And then a lot of it is just doing it and then showing them results. So showing them, hey, we posted this story on Facebook and it got 3 times the engagement that the post about, the other post about the award that we won got. Also, just demonstrating that, via the statistics that are in Pew Research Center, that are on TechCrunch and Mashable, showing that, people are using social media. People are using social media to give money. I mean, just look up statistics on Facebook fundraising. Look up statistics on, YouTube fundraising, because now YouTube has introduced a huge new suite of giving tools. But I think just being persistent, using examples from other organizations that you think are doing a fantastic job, and then coming up with a strategic plan. So I know, especially with bosses that I've had, if I just came to them and said I have an idea, they wouldn't be responsive. Especially, I'm thinking of one boss in particular. But if I came to him and I said, I think this is a great idea to do, and here's the way that I want to do it, and this is how much it's going to cost, and this is what I'm going to prioritize, and this is what I'm going to deprioritize. So if I came to him with more of a specific plan rather than just kind of a vague idea, that tends to work best. But using examples and, talking about how our brains are scientifically hardwired to respond to stories. We can't just be using data all the time. And I'm happy to send you some studies around that too. But it's an important question. I think just taking a lot of webinars like this, writing a lot down, and then doing a lot of research, and showcasing examples of social media storytelling that really works. But that's actually a really great question to ask in the group as well, because I know that that's something that a lot of other social media managers have struggled with. And I think you get some really good ideas there.
Okay, last question. Is it okay to recycle older posts, especially infographics and educational materials?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Absolutely. I don't know. I would wait a little while, but I think if it's something that worked really well, you can maybe put a new spin on it. You can write a new caption for it, or, maybe add something new to it, update it a little bit. I think that's fine to do.
Awesome. There are a few more questions, and I think if they have your email address, Julia,
Yeah,
they can
sure.
shoot
Just
you
email
right.
me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julia. Thank you for everybody who stuck through to the end.
Sure.
If you want to check out some upcoming webinars, go to nonprofithub.com/hubinar to see them and register for them. We would love to have you back. Yeah, and with that, have a good rest of your day, everybody. Thanks again, Julia. See you next time.
Thanks so much. Keep doing great work, guys.